But what have I ever done to you, mother? Why treat me like a leper? Elohor asked the king, crying. I do not blame you. I am here having this conversation with you because I decided to raise you when I could have given you up for adoption. Hello, you've always been a pain to me since you were a child, and I cannot forget that. Leave when you're ready, and please shut the door behind you. After waiting for a few hours, Elo finally approached one of the guards to ask him whom the prince was getting married to. He replied that he knows the bride and her people are from Wari village. Elo gave him a card and asked him to visit her if he had any information about the bride and he would be greatly compensated. Elo was surprised. She began to put the pieces together and she realized that Kome must have gotten married to the prince. But how come? Elo asked herself. Will Kome really get married without inviting me? Why would mother do that? Elo asked herself as she drove back to Agbo. She began to cry and blamed herself for giving the prince a chance to date and believing in love. Elo cried for days and Ovi did everything to make her stop blaming herself and thinking about the heartbreak. After a few days, she finally decided that she would pay her mom a visit and further confirm if her sister truly married the prince. When Elo got to worry, she found out that her mother had changed address. When she asked around, she was directed to the new address by a villager. When she got to her mother's new residence, she was surprised at how massive it is and the change in her mother's life. She was ushered in by Ene, who was sitting outside the house giving instructions to their maids. When she entered the house, she was speechless at the luxurious furniture and fittings. She sat on a chair while Ene went inside to call her mother. Mama Kume came in with a glass of wine in her hands and she looked so beautiful that someone could mistake her as a single lady. She hugged Elo and pretended like everything was fine. Elo was surprised at her mother's warm welcome. She did not waste time before she began to ask her mother how she amassed so much wealth in such a short while. Well, my dear, Kume has been going out with a prince for the last 2 years, and he finally decided to pay a bride price a few days ago. Everything you see here is a gift from the prince's family, and there is more to come where that came from. According to the king, we will also be getting monthly foodstuffs and fresh meat for the next 1 year. Who would resist such an offer? Mama Kume smiled as she sipped her wine. Hello didn't understand what was going on. Mama, are you talking about Prince Azuka of Asaba? She asked, confused. Yes, my dear, the same handsome Prince of Asaba. Kume told me that he came to your place a few times for business, but he pretended not to know her to ensure a smooth business transaction. Mama Kume replied, confusing Elo further. He wasn't on business visit and Kume knows that. He visited because he wanted to marry me, and Kume never mentioned it to me that they ever met before he came to my place. Why is she lying? Elo replied, surprised of her sister's betrayal. Well, unlike you, Elo, Kume is not known to be a liar since she was a child. So I believe her and I think you're the one who is trying to create problems here. Please, if your intention is to create problems, I would suggest you leave and never come back to this house again. Her mother busted out. Ella was totally shattered and heartbroken to hear her mother send her away again after she accepted her back. She sat in the sitting room crying and wondering if she truly is her mother. With tears streaming down her face and a trembling voice, Ella asked her mother, Are you truly my mother? Did you carry me for 9 months in your womb? What a question! Just listen to yourself. Mamakume blurted out. Leave my house this minute and don't bother to come back since you're insinuating that I'm not your mother, you ungrateful child. But what have I ever done to you, mother? Why treat me like a leper? Elo asked again, crying. I do not blame you. I am here having this conversation with you because I decided to raise you when I could have given you up for adoption. Elo, you've always been a pain to me since you were a child and I cannot forget that. Leave when you're ready and please shut the door behind you. Mama Kume said as she left Elo sitting there. Elo sat on the chair, frozen for a few minutes, unsure if she heard her mother clearly. But it dawned on her that her mother will never love her no matter what she did. She left after a while, feeling betrayed and dejected. Few weeks passed and Elo moved on with her life, without letting what her mom and sister did to hurt her anymore. She is pleased with Ovie, her only sister, who loved her unconditionally and she's taking great care of her. Meanwhile, Koma is enjoying her life to the fullest at the Asabat Palace without knowing of the danger that lurks around the palace. The prince showered her with lots of love and gifts, and she was very happy that her dream of marrying a prince had finally come to pass. But many times, when Kuma informed the prince that she would be visiting her mother, he would always decline. He would tell her that she can only visit her mother after 1 year of being his wife. Kume was surprised. She doesn't know why the prince would prevent her from seeing her family. She became disturbed. Mama Kume also visited one time, but the guards prevented her from entering. The prince's wife is only allowed to see her parents after 1 year of their marriage. Mama Kume was informed before the marriage that she would not be seeing her daughter until after 1 year, but she thought she could see her daughter by bribing the guards. But it did not work out. She had no choice but to wait for the 1 year period to elapse. One morning, the guard whom Elohor gave her address visited her in her home. He introduced himself as Bala. Bala has been working in the palace for 10 years and he knows almost everything that happens there. He told Elohor that her sister's life is in danger. He informs her that the Asaba kingdom has a long tradition of sacrificing 7 pregnant brides before the prince can get married. The blood of the 7 pregnant brides will be used to appease the gods against calamity and sudden death of the villagers. He said this tradition has been in existence for over a century and Koma is the 6th bride of the present generation. Due to this, none of the brides are allowed to leave the palace after being married and the prince must impregnate them within the 1 year period. So by keeping Kome at the palace, they want to make sure that her pregnancy is legitimate and that she doesn't run away. The guard told Elo that he could help Kome escape if she followed his instructions. After a long silence in trying to process the information she has just received, Elo asked the guard, "Are you saying that if I had married the prince, I would have been the sacrifice as soon as I got pregnant?" "Yes, that is exactly what will happen, and I'm happy that you're not in that situation because you are a kind-hearted woman. Your mom basically begged the king to convince the prince to marry your sister. I was there the day she came. The king gave her all sorts of gifts when she was leaving. And even though the king informed her that she would only see her daughter after a year, your mom was too blind to see how that doesn't seem right. Did you know that many families have rejected the king's offer of marriage due to that single condition and the king never forced anyone? If he did, the sacrifice will not be accepted." Hmm. Elo heaved a heavy sigh, and she told the guard that she doesn't want to have anything to do with her sister and mother anymore. But the information she heard is unsettling, and she's afraid that she may blame herself if anything happens to her sister. She asked the guard what to do, and he told her to come to the palace and pretend to be there to see the king. "You will tell the king that you want to use the restroom after a while. I will make sure that Gome is waiting for you there. You have just 5 minutes to convince her that her life is in danger." Elo did as instructed, but when Kome saw her, she turned to leave immediately. Elo tried to inform her about the dangers of remaining at the palace, but Kome called her a liar. "You are a shitty human being, Elo. How could you try to destroy my marriage just because the prince changed his mind and married me? It is not my fault that you are not beautiful and worthy of a prince. So please run along, or you will not like what I will do to you," Kome said angrily. "Kome, I know you decided to go for the prince because you like him, and I don't care. I have moved on. I'm talking about your life. You are in danger living here," Elor replied, unmoved by her betrayal and harsh words. Kome hissed and threatened to call Elor a thief if she doesn't leave her alone. Elor tried one more time to convince her, but Kome began to scream, "Thief! Thief!" Elor had to leave immediately and head back to the palace. She left the palace feeling sorry for her sister, but there was nothing she could do. Days passed and she began to think of what else to do. She was confused. Knowing that her sister's life is in danger and not doing anything about it would mean she's heartless. After thinking for many days, Ella finally decided to meet her mother to tell her what she heard. But when she did, her mother called her a liar and a thief who wanted to snatch her sister's husband because the prince did not marry her. Ella explained that she has moved on and she's only trying to save Kome's life, but her mother walked out on her, calling her all sorts of names. Eloa was not surprised at her mom's attitude, but she wished that she could just believe her this one time. Eloa, knowing she has tried her best, moved on with her life. A few months later, Eloa was in a small village telling her stories when a man approached her. He introduced himself as Obo and he had just returned from London. He told her of his intention to go on a date with her, but Eloa turned down his offer and she left him standing there. 3 days later, Obo visited again, but this time he says he's only interested in being friends with her. Eloa asked him how he got her address and he replied, "It wasn't easy, but I don't give up easily." Eloa wanted to reject his friendship offer at first, but after his second thought, she ushered him in. They began to talk and Eloa found out that he was fun to be with. He's a medical doctor based in the UK and he will be leaving soon. They met a few more times and Eloa finally said yes to dating him the next time he asked. If there is one thing Eloa has learned, it is to always give love a chance, since finding people who will love you for who you are is not easy these days. Obu proposed to her after a month of dating and Eloa said yes to his proposal. He started making arrangements to take Eloa and her younger sister, Ovi, along with him to London. As everything seemed to be working out fast, Eloa developed cold feet. She began to fear for her life and wonder if this wasn't another prince, Azuka. She traveled down to Obu's village without telling him, and she began to find out about him from the villagers, and many people said good things about him. She was finally relieved and was ready to go with Obu. Since her parents and siblings never liked her despite her kindness, she believes that giving her love to someone who is deserving of it is the right thing to do. Before leaving, Ella rented out all her apartments and offices and she put her trusted manager in charge. She paid her staff off and compensated them greatly. On the D-Day, Ella was all packed and ready to leave with her sister Ovie. They were taking a final look at the house when a taxi drove into the compound. Ella was surprised because she wasn't expecting any visitors. She was surprised to see her mother get out of the car, crying. "Hello, I haven't seen Komel. I went to the palace after the 1 year, but they told me that she was heavily pregnant and cannot see me. I pleaded with the prince to let me see her, but he told me that they paid me off to marry the princess. So why the tears?" I asked him if he had sacrificed my daughter like I heard, and he replied that I and my daughter came to the palace without being forced and that I should accept what happens as a result. He said he wanted to marry you, Elohor, but he had to rethink because of your kindness. He told me that you deserve the best man and unconditional love because you have shown him kindness so many times that he kept asking himself if sacrificing you was a smart decision. So he was very happy when I walked in with my daughter and begged the king to convince him to marry her. Hello, it was all a trap. The prince never loved my daughter. And they even stopped sending the monthly foodstuffs and meat. Now I don't have any money and my coma is gone. My mother began to cry. "Oh, I see. You are more concerned about the foodstuff and meat than the safety of your own daughter, which explains why you're concerned about her when the goodies stopped coming in. You're a very selfish mother." Ella asked her if she did anything when she told her that Kome's life was in danger, and she replied that she did nothing. "So why are you here now?" Ella asked, looking at her mother with so much anger and pain. "I want you to use your influence to bring the prince to justice," her mother replied, stammering. Even if it was what she could do. Ella replied her mother, "I'm sorry, but I can't do that. It is too late." The yearly Asaba festival took place a few days ago, and Kome has been sacrificed. There is nothing else I can do. I did everything possible to save her life, but you did not listen to me because of your hatred for your own child. Kome also called me a thief, which is indeed the thief who threw herself at the prince. Well, she did me a favor because I would have been the one sacrificed at the festival. Please excuse me. I have a flight to catch, Ella said without any feelings or emotions. In truth, she did her best, but they were both blinded by the riches given to them by the king. Mama Kome asked her where she was going, but Kome did not reply as she entered the vehicle to join her husband-to-be. Ovie got out of the car to inform her mother that they're going to the UK as Ella had finally found her prince charming. Everyone deserves to be loved and I'm happy that Ella found her true love. They are getting married in a few days in London. Bye, mother, Ovie said happily and she walked away from her mother. The car drove away, leaving Mama Kume standing there, crying and regretting all her actions. Did Elohor do the right thing, abandoning her mother? Let me know in the comment section, please. The moral of this story is that we should love all our children equally, regardless of their looks or who they are. Always guide your children to do the right thing and never be too jealous or too pained to accept what God has destined. You can't play God. Thank you so much for watching the last part of this story. Please subscribe, like, share, and let me know what you think about this story in the comment section. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.